creatures of the night. It's your girl Tati. Let's talk about Collision. I had the time of my life tonight at the show. It's such a different vibe, especially this venue that they were at today. If you watch the episode, you would see like it's just so different. Like when I walked in there, I was just like, all right, this is definitely very different in terms of a venue that I've ever been to for pro wrestling. And it was a smaller, intimate place. I love the way they had the stage design, and being there felt different. And when I watched the show when I got back, and I was just like, holy shit, it looks even better on TV, if that makes sense. Everything just came together, and I absolutely loved it. It was sold out. I'm not really sure how many tickets there was or whatnot, but for me, watching the show, it was dark. I want to say I know for a fact that this venue had it was more than 1,000 people for sure, but I'm not entirely sure like what the capacity was in terms of how many seats that they had. Whatever situation is, I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to go back there again next week. We did start off the show with Darby Allin versus Beast Mortos, and I already was in a bad mood about this because I was just like, oh, Darby Allin's gonna be in blood and goods, and obviously they want him to look favorable going into that match. But when you see a match with Beast Mortos, you're just kind of thinking Darby Allin would beat this guy. I don't think so. Still a really great opening match. I felt like I was the only person over there that was cheering for him. And you guys, I probably sound just fine, but my throat is just like, girl, you did a little bit too much screaming today. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be when you go to a wrestling show. You're supposed to show up and show out. You're not supposed to sit there and be quiet like you didn't just spend all those money on tickets. Now, Darby Allin, Beast Mortos does, they have really great chemistry. And Darby Allin, no matter what this guy does, like he's really, really talented. And it was something about this match where it was just like, everybody in the crowd is just cheering for Darby. And throughout the night, it was this baby face of fever everybody seemed to have had, where it's just like they're always cheering for the good guys. And I'm just like, nobody cheers for the bad guys? Like, am I just the only one? And that's why I was screaming a little bit louder, because obviously I had to make some noise, even more noise, for the ones that nobody is cheering for. Darby Allin does end up taking the win here, but I do feel like the more and more we see Beast Mortos in the ring, the more it's like, Tony Khan, where's the all elite graphics? This guy is super talented, and I think he would be a really great addition to AEW, and I would love to see him more often in the ring. He's awesome. After the match, Darby Allin talking about, oh, y'all niggas thought that I wasn't going to make it to 30 years old. Well, here I am. I'm 30 and I feel great. And I was like, Darby, that's a motherfucking lie. I don't think you probably feel as great as you making it seem to be. He's going to be part of Blood and Guts match. So he has to look good going into that. With the opening match, he looks great. And with him pretty much reassuring everyone that he's all in one piece and everything's okay with him, despite all the foolishness that has happened these past few months, and him having somewhat of, ups and downs in life. He's absolutely ready for Blood and Guts, and Team AEW is going to take the win. And to be honest, I'm not too sure about that. Now we backstage with the Acclaim and Daddy Ass, and Daddy Ass is giving them a pep talk. Daddy Ass and everyone in this AEW realm, whatever you want to call it, know that the Acclaim kind of feel like the odd ones in Team AEW. So he's letting them know, like, y'all need to put in the motherfucking work. Everybody in the fucking world is doubting you guys already being in this match. So y'all really gonna have to put up or shut up. And I'm just like, okay, Daddy Ass is really giving it to the Acclaim right now. And really, if they want to have everybody stop doubting them and kind of feeling like they're the odd ones in the group, they're really going to have to put a lot of work on Wednesday. And it's kind of hard to see at this point. When we think about the Acclaim, we kind of don't think about these guys, being in a Blood and Guts match. But who knows? They might surprise us. I'm doubting it, though. After this, we have Hikaru Shida versus Sky Blue in a very short match. The match ended up ending with the referee stopping the match. Sky Blue got injured. I went to look to see if the clip was on YouTube. I couldn't find the clip. I would actually have to watch it back from the DVR to see what actually happened. I don't know when she got hurt, but she ended up outside the ring and the doctors were with her. And she was crying her eyes out. She was crying, 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 and holding on to her leg. And I hope it's not broken. I'm not sure what the situation is. I guess they didn't post it on YouTube, obviously for a reason. And man, I really hope that she feels okay. I hope it's like nothing serious or whatnot. And Hikaru Shida, she ended up winning this match because obviously Sky Blue can't continue. But then later on, she comes on the show saying, "DMD, you and me on Wednesday at Blood and Guts," and that's interesting because I felt like we already had a full show for Wednesday night, but I guess that's not the case. This is Britt Baker's first match, and God knows how long. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I do think in terms of who wins this match is really predictable, but the thing to look forward to here is how she performs after being out of the ring for so long. And Hikaru Shida is no joke. Her and DMD got history. So let's see how Britt does for Blood and Guts. And Sky Blue Girl, we are praying for you. After this, we do have chaos backstage. And I'm just like, okay, why I'm seeing wrestlers just flying left and right and everything? Turns out to be Lance Archer. Lance Archer is beating the hell out of God knows who these people are. And then he goes on to say, y'all motherfuckers forgot who the Murder Hawk Monster is, and I'm going to show y'all. And I found that to be really, really interesting because if you go back to Ring of Honor on Thursday, Vincent was all in the camera talking about how he and Dutch are looking for tag team gold. Meanwhile, here is, well, obviously that would not include Lance Archer, but now Lance Archer is on Collision, pretty much just speaking for himself. Is this group going to be like, I don't know, not together anymore? Maybe. I'm just insinuating based off what Lance Archer had to say and then what happened on Ring of Honor. If that's the case, I can't necessarily say I'll be happy with that, but I have always felt like Lance Archer hasn't had the best in terms of showing in Ring of Honor, and I think we could really amp it up with Lance Archer. So we'll see what happened. Whoever those people that was that got the ass whooped back there, yeah, it's not looking pretty for them. So now y'all got the learning tree. He's back there, and he's talking about how excited he is to go against Suzuki on Wednesday. That's also, I mean, it just kind of feel like it's like Blood and Guts gonna be like a 3-hour event or something because it seems like a lot is gonna be going on. FTW is on the line, and he says that he's been waiting for 4 years to get his hands on Suzuki, and it's finally happening. And he says it's a dream match for him. However, it's a nightmare for Suzuki, and I'm just like, oh, so that's where we're going with it. Sure. I am looking forward to this. I don't necessarily think that Suzuki would win the FTW title, but I do know that he is going to drag Chris Jericho throughout the whole arena, and that I'm cool with. And you know what? The FTW title, it just have, to me, it feel like there's no significance to it in the company. Why they want to keep going with this, honestly, I don't know. But Chris Jericho getting the beatdown, sign me up to sit front row to watch that. I definitely need to see. Up next, we had the Premier Athletes come out with Tony Nese. And Tony Nese is like, oh, everything is bigger in Texas, including you fat motherfuckers up in here. And that just made me almost fell out of my seat. I thought that was funny. He always talk about how everybody's fat and he's just chiseled like a god. And yes, he is. He absolutely looks amazing. He comes on out there obviously talking shit about everybody. And his opponent, Ray Fenix, and I was just like, oh, well, it was nice knowing you, Tony. He gets his ass whooped, but it was actually a pretty great match. I wasn't expecting to see a squash match. Now, I would say this. Ring of Honor, they made a big deal about this group getting together. They had cool promos, vignettes, and all these things for them to come together. And then here we are at this point where it's just like, all right, well, I'm glad that they're featured on TV, but damn, they're taking a lot of L's. And that bothers me. Like I said, I appreciate the heels, and I want to see them take more W's, and everybody else is booing Tony Nese and everything, the Premier Athletes. And once again, I'm going to have to shout even louder for the heels because I'm the only one that loves them. Now, really great match. We even had the crowd wanted the premier athletes to get the fuck on out of there because obviously they're getting involved. And Bryce just don't see any issues. He's not seeing anything, so he can't tell them to leave. So then the crowd is booing Bryce because he's not doing his job. And then there was a point where he was getting at Alex Abrahantes, and I was like, yes, put Alex out of here. He's annoying the fuck out of me. He doesn't do anything. He's a hype man, but he's not hyping anyone up. You guys already know. Ray Phoenix ended up taking the win. And while I said, I didn't like the fact that, it's always the same people winning. It's still great to see the premier athletes getting a little TV time, and they looked great. They look great. I think the more and more they put these guys on TV, I think the better they'll be able to utilize these guys in the future. That's just me hoping for the best. Up next, we have Shivani in the ring, and Shivani looks so different. I don't know what it was. Maybe because I was there, but he just looks so different. I don't know what it is. Whatever situation is, FTR comes out. And it's a lot of talking. Y'all know how I feel about FTR. They're so amazing in the ring. But, the promos. Yep. And they just be going all over the place. And I was just like, oh, my God. Somebody put me out of my misery. I can't deal with it. FTR, obviously, they gave some props to Tommy Billington, who I feel like is really, really talented. He was talking about Uncle Dom, talking about the Elite and all this foolishness. And I'm just like, all right, this is a 2-hour show. Get the hell out the ring. We got some matches to see. After this, we do have Ishii versus Roderick Strong. And I'm just like, yes. Oh, and let me just say this. Dalton Castle had got injured doing his match with Roderick Strong last Saturday. He is going to be out for the remainder of the year at least. So Tony Khan did already confirm this. So I don't know exactly the extent of his injury, but for him to miss the rest of the year, and who knows when he'll be able to come back next year, that has to be pretty serious. So speedy recovery for Dalton Castle. Damn, it just seems like a lot of people are getting injured, and I wish that wasn't the case. Roderick Strong, Dalton, I think their match was okay, but now it put things in perspective, as in he might have been hurt during that match, and it didn't really turn out to be the very best match that I think we could have gotten between the two of them. But tonight, we had a really great match with Roderick and Ishii, and Roderick is just, oh my God, and to see him in person, he is so, oh my God, he looks so great. Ishii also really, really great as well. I think the chemistry was there. I know it seems like they are doing this thing where it's just like, all right, they have this new group, the conglomeration, and Ishii, I guess he joined the group on Rampage last night. And here we have him pretty much fighting on their behalf, or this is his initiation into the group, whatever the situation is, but he ends up taking the L anyway. Why? Undisputed Kingdom gets involved. They come through the crowd. They get into the ring, and they're there to be a distraction. And Roderick ends up stealing the win with that, which I knew was going to happen anyway. Cheating or no cheating, Roderick was supposed to take this win because he's going against Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Title. So he needs this over Ishii. Obviously after that, a little beatdown ensues, and here comes the rest of the members, except for Orange Cassidy. Thank God. Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly ends up coming out, and the Undisputed Kingdom end up scattering like flies. And, things are heating up between this group. But before we get to that, Mark Briscoe is going to be at Blood and Guts for Team AEW. Too bad, because then 2 days later, he's going to be putting that world title on the line against Roderick Strong. So prayers for Pastor Mark Briscoe. Up next, we finally had the debut of Hologram. Now, I didn't realize the match was coming on. All of a sudden, during the commercial break, we had Gringo Loco, of all people, coming to the ring. And when he came out to the ring, everybody in their mama they lost their mind, cheering and screaming for him. And I'm just like, oh, that's really nice to know that people actually love this guy. I think he is super talented. And then that's when Hologram comes out during the when the show goes back on air, and I'm just like, oh, this is the situation it is. Okay, well, this is not looking great. they do actually have a really great match. And I end up watching this back, and you can feel the love that Gringo Loco was getting. I feel like it didn't translate as well on camera, but like if you were there physically, like it just seemed like everybody was cheering for this guy, and it was so cool. Matter of fact, it was actually his birthday today, and for him to actually be on Collision, this is his first time on Collision, so that was really great to see. So congrats to Gringo Loco. He ain't take the W or anything, but it was still great for him to come out. Now, Hologram, I think he looked great. I think he performed great. Um, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening from here. We do have quite a few luchadors in AEW. So where does he fit in with that? It's hard to tell because it's his first match over in the company. And I just don't want him to be one of those guys that just get thrown in with Alex Abrahantes or whatever. Because Alex Abrahantes is literally with all the luchadors every motherfucking time. It's so interesting. We'll see if he just does his own thing. That's what I would prefer to see. But if not, then yeah, he'll be fed to Alex Abrahantes to be one of his people, which is, I don't know. I don't care for it. Yes, Hologram ends up taking the win. After this, we do have the Von Erichs with Dustin Rose. Y'all know how it is. Every time they go over to Texas, the Von Erichs are there, and I do appreciate that. And they just threw in Dustin Rose into the situation as well. And this is actually going to end up playing out for Ring of Honor. We'll talk about that on Thursday. Now, I just want to say this. Some of the things that were happening outside of the ring was a little bit, how do I say it? There was like some sound issues. So some of the promos and stuff that were, airing in the back, we couldn't really hear that well. So I had to watch the show back just to know like what the hell was going on, because we were not able to hear them. There was just like the sound coming in and out or whatever. I mean, I guess it's like not really a big deal, but that was happening throughout the night. That was the only issue, I think. If anybody was going to complain about anything, it would be that. But it was still a really great show and great vibes. Now, after this, we do have a lumberjack match with the ladies, Deonna Purrazzo versus Thunder Rosa. Wow. We had so many ladies that were ringside, and they're getting into it with each other. We have obviously the heels and we have the baby faces. And Taya Valkyrie was showing up and showing out the whole time. I love her vibe. So fun. She really gets into that character, and I absolutely appreciate that about her. And she ends up helping Deonna Purrazzo take the win when she gives her a turnbuckle to whack Thunder Rosa upside her head with for the win. And I'm just like, shit, Deonna Purrazzo gets another win on Thunder Rosa. And guess what? The feud between those two girls, it can't be over at this point. Thunder Rosa, girl, you need to get a W. And hopefully it's the next match you guys have. I actually really did enjoy this. I thought it was fun. It was great to see pretty much all the ladies from AEW and Ring of Honor out there. It was great. I absolutely appreciate that. Tony Khan, we can do more with the girls. All right. Main event. We had the trios, the unified trios titles on the line since they were vacant for a couple of days. We had the Bang Bang Gang versus the Patriarchy. And for anybody who was wondering, like, why was it vacant for them to go for the title again? Apparently, AEW does not acknowledge the Freebird rule. Jay White is injured. Juicy cannot compete as champion just because Jay is injured. So they had to vacate the title last week. I think it was on Collision. So since it was vacated, these two teams went forward or whatever. And long story short, our stepdaddy, Christian, ends up taking the win. Oh my God. I was so excited. I felt like I was the only person up in there cheering for him. Yes, I had my sign that said Christian be my daddy. And when he looked directly at the sign, I almost fainted. I could have fainted. I was so excited. Luchasaurus, holy crap, he looks so good in person. Oh God. Amazing. It was a really great match. Great chemistry. Well, you know what? There was some parts that wasn't so great. And one thing I hate going to wrestling shows, if a wrestler makes a mistake and then everybody think it's cute to just be like botch, 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 you botch, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, they're humans, they make mistakes. It's not like somebody gets in the ring and they don't know how to wrestle at all, and every little thing that they do is a mistake. It was just like here and there, things just didn't work out or whatnot, and people just think it's cute to just be shouting that shit out, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. They make mistakes. Won't you bring your ass up in the ring and do what they do? I'm sorry, you can't. So I really did enjoy this. I did feel like, I didn't mind the Bang Bang Gang having the titles, but I felt like we could use something different. Christian ends up taking the win. And when he takes the win, it was so funny. Like, he takes all three of the titles and he is literally raising the titles. And I'm just like, oh, okay, we just gonna forget that Nick Wayne and Kill Switch also are trios champions as well. I think the same thing that he did with Luchasaurus when he had the TNT title might be the same thing that they're going to do with now. If anything, though, maybe he might give the title, one of them, to Nick Wayne, and then Luchasaurus is just probably not going to get his title, and then that probably start, some type of issues with them. But I will say this. During that, the lights were flickering, and that was supposed to significant. That was supposed to be, look at me, I can't talk. Something about the House of Black. House of Black obviously doesn't come out, but with those lights flickering, you know that their presence is there in a way, and that they're next in line for the titles. That's going to be interesting. My thing is what about Ring of Honor? We not going to be going over there with the titles, or this is like not a thing for Ring of Honor anymore. That part I don't care for, but we'll see. Maybe the Patriarchy versus House of Black, all in. I'm all in for it. This was a great episode. This was a really great show to be at live. And I encourage people, like, if you've never gone to a wrestling show, or if you've just never gone to an AEW show, go check it out. It's fun. You have a great time. Tony Khan came out before the show. Tony Khan came out after the show. Tony Khan came out after Ring of Honor. This guy fucking loves what he does. And yes, I could complain about things in terms of the booking or how some of these things play out, where I'm just like, we can do better. And like, I do my reviews to provide constructive criticism. This is no way of me hating on the company or anything. I want them to do better. So this is why, like, I do what I do in hopes that they do get better. However, Tony Khan, he loves it. He's always out there. Every single show that I've ever been to, he has always been out there. And that right there shows me how much he loves his business, how much he loves AEW. And I absolutely love that about him. This was a really great show. If you missed it, go check it out. The clips are already on YouTube. And I will be at the next show, which is the Final Battle pay-per-view. And I'll also be at Collision for next Saturday as well. So that's going to be great. And there's 2 Ring of Honor tapings on Sunday that I'm going to. So a whole bunch of wrestling. And your girl couldn't be happier. When I'm around wrestling, I am in my safe space. And I am so fucking in love with pro wrestling. Can't you tell? Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll see you on Wednesday for Dynamite. Bye.